Identity V is a game that really leans into coordination, teamwork, and, well, a fair bit of stress. With all that going on, it's no surprise the community has come up with all sorts of funny, and sometimes frustrating, moments. Naturally, players started making their own gaming terminology to describe these things. Some of it makes sense, while some of it, not so much. And thanks to certain story events, or even just the developers dropping a few odd statements, the list of fan-made terms keeps growing. Honestly, at this point, IDV could probably use its own little dictionary. So in today's video, we're taking a break from our usual lore deep dives to explore some of the terms and phrases that pop up a lot in the community. Chances are, you've heard a few of these before, but just in case you haven't, I've got you covered. Well, without further ado, let's dive in! So, the first word that pops into most players' minds when talking about Identity V terminology is cockroach. We're not talking about the kind that scuttles under your fridge at 3 a.m. We're talking about Priestess Fiona Gilman. Yep, that cursed woman. First of all, let's talk about those horns on her head. I don't care what lore explanation netties give me about those horns. To me, they look like cockroach antennae. Period. Like, you know, I don't know if NetEase was going for mystical and elegant theme, or if someone on the dev team just had a very weird inspiration while cleaning their kitchen, but here we are. More importantly though, the nickname comes from how incredibly annoying Fiona can be in a match. She's fast, slippery, always shows up when you least want her to, and just when you think you've cornered her, she's gone through a portal and halfway across the map. Chasing her as a hunter feels like trying to catch a cockroach with chopsticks. And if that wasn't enough, she can heal her teammates and herself like she just drank 5 energy drinks and got a hug from Jesus. And let's not ignore the long portal. That thing? That's not a portal. That's a teleportation disrespect as well as a headache-inducing mechanism NetEase secretly made. 1 second you're this close to downing her, and the next, she's slipped into that portal like she's Batman escaping into a sewer grate. It's amazing and infuriating. The term cockroach has been around since, like, 2019. No one knows who first said it, but they deserve a gold medal and free therapy for dealing with her. Hunter mains use it religiously to vent their frustration, with survivor mains followed suit. It's practically a coping mechanism at this point. Honestly, if a pest control company ever partnered with Identity V and Fiona was their mascot, that campaign would sell out faster than McDonald's on discount. The tagline would be something like this: Pesticide Company, we kills bugs dead. Unless it's Fiona. Good luck with that. Some of you might have already noticed this, but over time, Jack the Ripper has picked up a rather unusual nickname among fans: Jack the Stripper. This all started back in 2023 when the story Shrouded Bellastain was released. Near the end of that story, there's a dramatic courtroom scene where Jack, after losing an argument and being cornered, suddenly strips off his shirt, revealing a chest covered in bee stings. In that moment, he confesses to the attempted murder of Sway. But as you might imagine, the fandom didn't just focus on the confession. What really caught everyone's attention was the unexpected shirt removal. It was such a dramatic and out-of-nowhere moment that fans couldn't help but turn it into a joke. And just like that, the nickname Jack the Stripper was born. The scene definitely caused a stir, especially among Jack's fans. While the intention was to show a moment of guilt and vulnerability, the way it played out ended up becoming one of the more talked about moments in recent IDV lore. Among all the fan-made terms floating around the Identity V community, Mercoder is definitely one of the more rage-fueled ones. If you've played enough matches, chances are you've run into one, and maybe even gritted your teeth because of it. The term Mercoder refers to a rescuer who decides, for whatever reason, to spend the whole match decoding instead of doing what he was picked for, rescuing. Meanwhile, the actual rescue falls to someone completely unequipped for the job, like a poor doctor going full kamikaze mode and, well, it usually doesn't end well. The name Mercoder is a blend of mercenary and decoder, two roles that couldn't be more different. Mercenaries are the top-tier rescuer, meant to take risks, body block hits, and pull off clutch rescues. Decoders? They're the chill ones who focus on cipher progress. So, when a mercenary decides to go full decoder mode and ignore their rescue duties, that's when the term Mercoder comes into play. It's not a compliment though. It's a collective sigh of disappointment wrapped in a single word. You'll know you've got a Mercoder on your team when that mercenary just parks himself at a cipher, minding his business like nothing's happening while a teammate's hanging on a rocket chair, crying for help. And somehow, they're always the one to sneak out through the dungeon at the end, while the rest of the team is left in ruins. This next term is connected to one of the most fan-shipped characters in Identity V, Joseph. But unlike the usual admiration, this particular term is more of a running joke than a compliment. See? Joseph is known for his stunning skins. Almost every one of them has that elegant, model on a runway vibe. Naturally, NetEase took full advantage of that and turned Joseph into their unofficial cash cow, dropping skin after skin, knowing full well that die-hard Joseph fans would happily throw their wallets at the screen. And for the most part, they did. But then came Peter Raytree, also known lovingly, or not, as Konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
This skin came from a crossover event and is widely regarded by fans as one of the worst Joseph skins ever, and possibly even the worst skin in the whole IDV universe. Its design was criticized for looking rushed, unpolished, and lacking the quality players had come to expect from Joseph's usually glamorous look. It didn't take long for it to become the community's favorite punching bag. The name Konbanwa, which means good evening in Japanese, comes from the skin's showcase, where that phrase was used.
Konbanwa.
Now, every time someone brings up this skin, someone in the community will inevitably chime in with a sarcastic Konbanwa. Some fans even joke that NetEase should lock up the modeler responsible for it. Not out of actual malice, of course, but because the drop in quality was just that shocking compared to Joseph's usual top-tier treatment. In popular culture, zombies are known for one terrifying trait. They're incredibly hard to kill. You can shoot them, stab them, slash them, and they'll just keep going, completely unfazed. Sound familiar? Because in Identity V, there's one character who fits that exact description. Emily Dyer, the Doctor. Now sure, not every Doctor main is unstoppable. Some might get downed in the first 30 seconds of the match. That's all we've seen it happen. But those who truly master Emily? Different story entirely. A skilled Doctor main is like the undead. Hit her once? She'll patch herself up in seconds. Hit her again? She's back on her feet before you can blink. These players don't just survive, they thrive. Want her to be a rescuer? She can storm in and take hits without fear. Need a kiter? She'll drag the chase on for ages with her self-heals. Support role? Absolutely! She's the tank of the team, eating hits and bouncing right back. She might not moan or shamble like a classic zombie, but when it comes to sheer tenacity and refusal to go down, Dr. Mains have definitely earned the nickname. Emily isn't just a medic. She's immortal with a syringe. Now, speaking of Emily surviving and thriving, let's talk about something truly special. The fan-organized Survive and Thrive charity event. For years now, our amazing IDV community has come together to support mental health awareness through this incredible grassroots initiative. And guess what? The tradition continues this year from May 30th to June 2nd. Here's the beautiful part. Content creators across platforms will be streaming, creating videos, and rallying support to raise funds through Tiltify's secure donation system, which will be available through the link shared by many IDV content creators participated in the event. Also, even if you can't contribute financially, simply sharing the event makes a huge difference. Want to get involved as a creator? Reach out to Black Phoenix, who's coordinating this heartwarming effort. Every share, every view, every dollar helps fight the stigma around mental health. Now, let's get back to our IDV slang analysis. But seriously, let's make this year's event amazing! This next term revolves around a certain perfumer skin, tonight or never. On the surface, it sounds dramatic and elegant, like something out of a romantic tragedy. But within the Identity 5 community, it became more of an inside joke than anything else. Why? Because despite its name, Tonight or Never somehow ended up coming back every single year. Year after year, during the annual fan voting events, this skin would get voted in by the community and return to the shop like clockwork. At some point, fans started joking that the skin's name was misleading. After all, what kind of never is this if it's always back again tonight? Some even said NetEase should just go ahead and rename it to Tonight and Always, because clearly, this skin had no intention of leaving the spotlight. However, things changed recently. In the latest annual skin vote, Tonight or Never was finally dethroned and didn't make it into the top ranks. So, in a strange yet poetic way, the skin has finally lived up to the never part of its name. At least for now. YOYO, short for You're on Your Own, is one of the quick messages survivors can throw out in Identity 5. Originally, it was meant to be a practical, if a little blunt, way to let your teammates know that you couldn't help them at the moment. Like, maybe you're decoding the last cipher, or you're in no shape to risk a rescue. But over time, the tone of YOYO started to shift. These days, it's not just a heads up, it can also be a passive-aggressive way of saying, "You messed up, and I'm not dealing with it." In other words, YOYO has slowly evolved into a stand-in for good luck. Not my problem. And yes, in certain cases, it's used as the in-game equivalent of, "Fuck you." YOYO quietly took over the role of another infamous message that was removed from the game. Thank you. For a while, players would use the thank you quick chat sarcastically. Think of it as a way of saying, "Thanks for completely ruining my match," with a polite bow. Well, eventually, NetEase removed it due to excessive misuse. Now, however, YOYO is filling that void. Short, sharp, and just ambiguous enough to let you decide whether it's tactical honesty or survivor salt. Either way, if you see it pop up in your match, chances are someone's not happy. While Identity V is, at its core, a horror game, we've all seen how often that genre identity gets absolutely derailed by the sheer number of character skins released. And honestly, many of them have nothing to do with horror. Take Joseph, for example. What survivor would actually be scared of him? Let's be real, most would rather hug him than run from him, completely ignoring the fact that their teammate is sobbing on a rocket chair in the background. At this point, if someone's eliminated by Joseph, they don't die in agony. They die smiling. Joseph was already dangerously handsome to begin with, and NetEase knew exactly what they were doing. Then came the Sanrio crossover. As if he wasn't already a fan favorite, they went ahead and dressed him up in a Hello Kitty skin. At that point, it felt like we weren't playing a gothic survival game anymore. We were just dressing up our faves like digital dolls. And that's when the term dress-up game started floating around the community. Of course, it's not just Joseph. Plenty of other characters have gotten cutesy, fabulous, or just plain glittery skins, all clearly designed to tempt players into opening their wallet. And surely it works. The developer really knows exactly how to get us. Ever heard of the term Black Tuesday? Historically, it refers to October 29, 1929, which is the day of the Wall Street crash that marked the start of the Great Depression. Stock prices plummeted, trading volume went wild, and chaos swept through the financial world. It was a massive economic collapse driven by speculation, overvaluation, and a sudden loss of confidence. Now, fast forward to the world of Identity V, and we had our own version of Black Tuesday. In the IDV community, there's a niche but active group known as the trading community. These are players who buy, sell, or trade game accounts, especially ones that contain rare or limited time skins. Some of these skins are considered ultra valuable because they were thought to be one-time releases, particularly those from early collaborations, like the Junji Ito crossover. Originally released in 2018 and mid-2019, these skins were seen as untouchable collectibles. And then came 2024. Without much warning, NetEase announced the return of the Junji Ito crossover. Yep, the same skins people thought would never come back. And just like that, skins that were once treated like museum pieces were suddenly available again. The result? Account values plummeted. Fast. Some accounts that were worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, lost their value overnight. In some cases, the drop was several $100s in one go. It was a digital market crash, and for many in the trading scene, it really did feel like another Black Tuesday. Burke Lapidura, the Mad Eyes, is often seen by hunter mains as one of the hardest hunters to play in Identity V. And not just a bit tricky hard. We're talking full-blown big brain, 5-monitor, coffee-fueled strategy session kind of hard. Survivor mains, on the other hand, love to poke fun at this poor old grandpa whenever he makes an appearance. Well, most of the time, Mad Eyes is too busy tapping away on his console, trying to spot survivors across the map like he's playing a real-time strategy game. Meanwhile, there's probably a little girl survivor standing 2 feet away from him, waving and wondering what ancient machinery he's operating. It's chaos. Because of his extremely technical playstyle and steep learning curve, Mad Eyes rarely shows up in matches. Very few hunter mains are brave or patient enough to take him on, but those who do, they earn respect. And that's where the term Chad Eyes comes in. Chad Eyes is a nickname the community uses for hunters who've not only dared to play Mad Eyes, but have also taken the time to actually master him. It's a badge of honor. These players aren't just playing a hunter, they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is still learning checkers. Even attempting to learn him earns a nod of respect from the community. Because, let's be honest, it's not easy. And that wraps up just 10 of the many fan-made terminologies floating around in Identity 5. Honestly, there's still so many more out there, so I might make a part 2 in the future. Just need to dig a little deeper into the wild dictionary this fandom keeps building. If you have your own favorite terms or inside jokes from the game, feel free to share them. Who knows? I might just feature them in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silmina, signing off.